We've got the sneaky secrets that will make sure you have a better day at Epic Universe than anybody else. And seriously, you're gonna wanna know these.
Don't use the single rider line. I know that sounds crazy. Now, I don't mean the single rider line for all attractions. I just mean a few particular attractions. You're definitely gonna miss out on a couple big experiences if you use the single rider line. Now, first things first, what is the single rider line? A single rider line is basically marketed as a line that if you are traveling by yourself or if you're comfortable splitting up from your party, it's a way for you to hopefully wait in a shorter line. But there are unfortunately a few things that come with that territory. For rides like Monsters Unchained, Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, and yes, even here, Battle of the Ministry, if you skip the normal queue and opt for a single rider line, well, you're gonna miss the queue, and all of these queues are so heavily detailed. I mean, Universal Creative spent so much time sprinkling in little Easter eggs from all of the movies. Some really cool effects happen in each of these queues. And not only are they just detailed queues, literally the queue is where the experience begins. And for all three attractions, if you opt for the single rider line, you will miss the pre-show, which has some incredible effects. Victoria Frankenstein and the Monster, Higgledy over here at the Battle of the Ministry, and the pre-show where you learn how to play Mario Kart. I'm just saying that these queues are not to be missed. But it even goes beyond the storytelling. Oftentimes with the single rider lines, you're gonna wait even longer than the actual standby times. Which reminds me, I'm actually gonna add a fourth attraction to this list, Minecart Madness. Earlier today, I tried to ride the Minecart Madness single rider line, and it was already at capacity, which means there were too many people in the single rider line. The team members said it was longer than the standby line, and the standby line was at 75 minutes. So for some attractions, the single rider line is just not gonna be worth it. To potentially be separated from your party, to wait even longer than you would have in the standby line, and with the fact that you're gonna miss some really creative, crucial elements of the attraction you're about to experience.
Number 2, don't follow the crowd at rope drop. When you arrive at Epic Universe in the morning, you'll notice a stampede of guests heading in the same direction, and it's usually towards what they think will have the longest waits later. At rope drop, the most common destinations are Super Nintendo World and Stardust Racers, especially because that land and that ride open early for hotel guests. Another big one, Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. Even though it doesn't open up during early entry, hotel guests still line up outside the portal to be among the first inside when the land opens. Now, this isn't a bad strategy. Battle at the Ministry consistently has one of the longest waits in the park, often between 90 minutes and 5 hours. And while the wait does drop in the afternoon, the ride can also go down, so people want to make sure they get on it early. But here's what I do instead. I usually ride Battle at the Ministry around 10:30 or 11 a.m. after the initial rope drop crowds are out of the way. By then, the wait often drops significantly. In the meantime, I head straight to meet Toothless. This is actually the second longest wait in the park most days, and rope dropping Toothless can save you a ton of time. You might only wait 20 or 30 minutes if you go first thing in the morning compared to 45 or 75 or even longer later in the day. And trust me when I say, meeting Toothless is one of the most magical experiences that you can have in this park. Even if you're not a big meet and greet person, which I'm not really, you might still want to meet a real dragon, and yes, I do. But if you're really not a meet and greet person, there are 2 major attractions that you can experience here in How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. So you can opt to knock them out early and circle back to Stardust Racers while most guests are still stuck in the Battle at the Ministry queue. Don't follow the crowd. Let them wait in line while you're meeting or riding dragons.
Here's a tip for all my coffee drinkers who need that caffeine when you are starting your theme park day. Don't get sidetracked by the first Starbucks that you see. Up at the front of Celestial Park to the right, you're gonna see a Starbucks, and that Starbucks is always crowded, always has a line, and can definitely lessen your rope drop time. Instead, make your way to the back of the park near Dark Universe. Right next to the Oak and Star Tavern, there is a little tiny Starbucks. Right here. Not a lot of people know about it. It doesn't even look like a Starbucks. The only thing that makes it look like a Starbucks is, well, it's got a little Starbucks lady up there, mermaid or something. I think it's a mermaid. Do we know this? Do we know this Starbucks lore? I don't know. I've never looked into it before.
See shows in the morning. Epic Universe has 2 major shows, and they're both really popular and really good. Over here at How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk, there's The Untrainable Dragon. This is a charming musical about a dragon who's a little too wild to train at first. It's fun, family-friendly, and has one jaw-dropping moment. Toothless flies out over the crowd with Hiccup on his back. Yep, it's really cool. When in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, there's Le Cirque Arcanu. This is a magical circus show where Ringmaster Skender has swiped Newt Scamander's suitcase for his latest act. Things start off playful, but quickly go off the rails as the creatures inside the suitcase start to, well, escape. Expect impressive magical effects, circus stunts, and a little chaos. Now, both of these shows are almost guaranteed to get really busy in the afternoon. Most guests spend their mornings running into big rides and then slow down for shows later in the day, usually between 2 and 4 p.m. That's when the lines for these shows really spike. You'll often need to line up 30 minutes or more in advance, and even then, you're not guaranteed a seat in the next show. That's why I recommend seeing the shows in the morning. They typically start around 10 or 10:30 a.m., and going early means shorter lines to get in, better seating options, more time saved overall. Yes, they're also great for escaping the afternoon heat, so if you have to wait until later, it's not the end of the world, but you want to minimize your wait time and still catch some of the most unique entertainment in the park, and that's why you want to make sure you make a show your first big break of the day.
Number 5, turn the worst ride in the park into the best. Right behind me is Dragon Racers Rally. Now, the first time I rode this ride, I ranked it lowest of every single ride in the park because it was just a little boring to me and a little short. Now, here's the catch. This ride is a very cool ride system. It is not one that's unique to Epic Universe, but it is very cool where you can actually control your own ride vehicle. With this, you can basically swing your ride vehicle back and forth by controlling the wings of your dragon. And if you get swinging hard enough, you can flip over upside down and even fully flip and do barrel rolls. I was scared to do this the first time I rode, so I just sat still and enjoyed the flight, and that was boring. A little bit like Dumbo, and maybe that's your speed, but for me, it was the least exciting thing in the park. Since then, I did learn to do a barrel roll, and now doing the barrel roll is one of the most fun things that I think you can do in this park. It gives you a sense of accomplishment that I've never gotten on a ride before, and it's controlling your own ride vehicle to get it to do what you want. It is a little bit easier to do a barrel roll if you are on the outside seats, as far as you can get from that center pendulum of the ride. So sitting on that far outside edge, a little bit easier, although you can do it anywhere. I've done it in all the different rows now. You're on a pendulum like this. It'll lift you up like this. You'll be a little at an angle, and then the ride vehicle will release and activate the gyro, which will make you feel a little bit of a swing as you now have control over how your ride vehicle tilts. The second that you hear that click and it releases, you need to start swinging. It's just like being on a swing set. You're gonna be pushing one hand forward and pulling one hand back and then switching, just like that, over and over again. Once the ride starts, you'll be able to feel a little bit of extra momentum as you go up into those arcs. All you're gonna do is follow the way that momentum feels and keep swinging as hard as you can. Do not stop. As you feel yourself get close to tipping over, hold that, and then when you start to go back, swing again until you get your momentum really going. So you'll actually slow down the cranking the more the ride goes on. It is difficult, but the surefire way to do it is to start cranking as soon as you can. As soon as you feel movement in your ride vehicle, you want to start the crank even though the ride isn't moving yet. And after that, just keep up the pattern and you should do a barrel roll. My first time I got one, I got 3. My second time I got one, I got 2. So it's very, very fun to get a barrel roll. You go upside down, and even if you don't quite flip all the way over, being upside down and just controlling your ride vehicle makes this ride an absolute blast. I was laughing my head off, and it became one of my favorite things to do in the park. So, despite not liking it at first. So those are my tips to doing a barrel roll on Dragon Racers Rally. It is not easy, but hopefully with those tips it helps.
Number 6, don't get too comfy with facial recognition. Epic Universe uses facial recognition technology throughout the park, and it's kind of amazing. You'll use it at the front gate in place of your ticket, but most often you'll use it at ride lockers. Here at Epic Universe, Lockers are required for a lot of attractions. Not all of them, but many rides don't allow bags, and some don't even allow items in your pockets. For example, Stardust Racers has metal detectors, so everything has to go in a locker. The good news, the system is way smoother than you would find at other Universal parks. The lockers are built right into the ride queues, so you'll pass them as part of your wait. No need to go off to the side or backtrack. Even better, the lockers use facial recognition instead of keys or tickets. You just walk up, it snaps a quick photo, you confirm your face, and it assigns you a locker. When you get off the ride, you go to the other side, scan your face again, and poof, it opens your locker. Very cool, but here's the catch. Don't get too comfortable assuming the tech will always work. Sometimes the system won't recognize your face on the way out, or you'll forget what section of the lockers you used and end up scanning your face at the wrong one. And once that happens, things can get a little awkward. You might need a team member to come open the locker for you. So here's the tip. Always remember your locker number. I know that's probably obvious, but even if it feels like you don't need it, just take a second to glance at it and make a mental note. Trust me, it can save you a lot of time and a little embarrassment. I am currently making this video with an incredible friend and coworker, Quincy, who got her makeup done here in Dark Universe, and when she went to try to use the locker with the makeup on, it didn't work. So that's something to think about. Another great thing to know is that I would always feel down to be at the level of the screen, thinking that was required, and I was told finally by a team member, you don't actually have to do that, you can just stand up. This is the camera, it's about at my chest, and it easily picks up my face.
Next up, stay dry on Fire Drill. Fire Drill, just behind me, is Epic Universe's only water ride. And some of you, like me, might be thinking, why would I ever want to stay dry on a water ride? But there are some folks that don't like getting wet. Emma's one of them, and aren't able to see these water rides because of it. So if that's you, this tip is to help you out in a way to experience this ride without getting totally soaked. Now, as you can see, Fire Drill currently has a 105-minute wait because it is so hot and it is so sunny. So this can also help you just get a short wait on the ride in general. But if you want to ride Fire Drill and you don't want to get wet, here's what you want to do. First thing in the morning, you want to rope drop Fire Drill. Head straight here when the portal opens, right at Park Open. No one's doing that. They're heading to Potter or to Meet Toothless or to the Dragon Racers Rally. So walk straight to Fire Drill, be one of the first people on the ride. And after that, you want to sit as far forward in the ride vehicle as you can, so as close to the way the ride is moving forward. Make sure you put all of your stuff in the crate they provide to keep your stuff dry, and then avoid at all costs the blue targets. Blue targets are what spray water at your ride vehicle, so if you stick to just hitting the fire or the green targets, no water will shoot at you. And if you're alone and nobody else is shooting at those targets, no water will shoot at you. Now, the only thing that you can't avoid is if someone is in the ride vehicle in front of you or behind you, they may shoot at your ride vehicle when they're able. This is only for a second, and it's usually at least mostly dodgeable, but it's not a complete guarantee you'll come off dry. I will say, however, that I've ridden Fire Drill at every other time of day, kind of come off as if I just got out of the shower, and the time that I rope dropped it, I came off with like a splash of water on my leg, and that's it. So if you want to see Fire Drill, but you don't want to come off soaking wet, consider rope dropping it.
Number 8, save on the interactive experiences. There are two main things your kid will probably beg you to buy at Epic Universe: an interactive wand for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and a power-up band for Super Nintendo World. Both unlock super cool experiences, and yes, they're unique to these lands, but they're also pricey, especially if you're buying one for every family member. So here's how to save without missing out. For both items, you can totally get just one for the whole family and take turns. In Super Nintendo World, a single power-up band can be passed around as you play. It'll still track coins and achievements under one profile, which is great if you're only visiting once. You don't need a separate band for everyone unless you really care about individual scores, which frankly I can see happening. But if you don't, then this is an awesome tip for you. Same goes for the interactive wand. There are tons of spells to cast in the Wizarding World, and sharing one wand between your group is a perfectly magical way to save money. Everyone still gets to try it out. Just take turns and enjoy the effects together. And if you're looking to save even more, you don't have to buy anything to enjoy the interactive features. Super Nintendo World, most of the mini games and interactive elements are still fun without a power-up band. It just won't track your progress. And in the Wizarding World, you can always watch others casting spells. Most spell locations have guests casting throughout the day, so kind of non-stop. So you can stand off to the side and enjoy the effects. Sometimes the wand attendants will even give you a little demo if you ask nicely. And I have to be honest that with both of these tips, this is the only way I've experienced these offerings. I've only stood and watched people cast spells here. I haven't brought my wand, and I haven't had the interactive experience myself, and frankly, it's so much pressure to get it right. I'd rather someone else unlock the magic for me, and I just get to stand there and watch in amazement, which I'm really good at.
Don't plan your trip for the fall. Now this is a weird one because it is based on speculation, but it's a pretty educated guess I've got going. And I think that epic crowds are going to be absolutely the worst in the fall every year, and especially its opening year 2025. There are a couple of reasons that I think this is true. For one, a lot of folks, a lot of theme park enthusiasts are unwilling to suffer through Orlando in the summer. Epic Universe did open for the very first time in late May. So it went straight into the hottest months of the year with that opening season. Even though the kids are out of school, those months are just really, really unbearably hot to be here. And a lot of folks who know that about Orlando are waiting to experience the new park once the heat dies down. They also might be waiting to experience the new park once the kinks are worked out, which of course could take a couple of months. And some of those folks, I think, might be aiming for the fall to let some of those ride delays and crowd issues start to wane. Now, Epic Universe did cap capacity in its opening weeks, and the capacity is currently growing, but the park is still manageable, but waits can be really long. Capacity should be up to pretty much the full point by midsummer, which means fall. All those folks that were waiting the crowds out, all those folks that were waiting the heat out are all going to be going at once. Not to mention the most famous and popular Universal event of the entire year, Halloween Horror Nights, happens in the fall from August through October, sometimes like a night in November. This event is so massively popular, and it attracts horror, theme park, and haunted house fans from all over the country. A lot of those folks might be planning to do a two birds, one stone situation by knocking out HHN and Epic Universe in one trip. Not to mention, even if that doesn't increase the crowds, Halloween Horror Nights is certainly going to cause problems for transportation around Epic Universe. Traffic around Halloween Horror Nights is some of the worst traffic you will see in Orlando ever. You can be in an hour of extra wait in traffic. It is brutal. And the route that the buses take between the rest of Universal and the Epic Universe campus goes right through one of those bad traffic areas. So I am dreading Epic Universe in the fall. If you haven't planned a trip yet and you're looking at fall, I'm just warning you, it might be a little bit of a bumpy road around that time of year, and maybe push through, wait until winter.
Number 10, listen for screaming. Sure, you'll hear the usual roller coaster screams at Epic Universe, but I'm talking about something way more dramatic than that. Epic Universe is full of wandering characters, and honestly, some of these unscheduled meet and greets are what sets this park apart. You'll find them in several lands, but the two that really shine are Isle of Berk and Dark Universe. Here in Isle of Berk, you might run into Rough Nut and Tough Nut, or Gobber the Belch, or even Astrid, just wandering the village, interacting with guests. Over in Dark Universe, you've got the Invisible Man, a mysterious storyteller, and fan favorite, Igor. And here's the real tip. Listen for screaming. Specifically, if you hear a loud, wild, slightly absurd scream echoing across Darkmoor, it's probably Igor. His chaotic energy is one of the best parts of the land, and if you follow the noise, you're in for a very entertaining interaction. He's hilarious, unpredictable, and always up to something strange. I just heard him now. Wait, I literally just heard Igor's scream. I'm literally doing this tip right now. Oh my gosh. I'm coming around the corner and there's Igor. How wild is it that I was literally filming about how the fact that you'll hear a scream and it will be Igor, and I heard a scream and I came around the corner and it was Igor. He's doing it again. But even beyond Igor, this is a good general rule. If you hear shouting, belching, or something out of the ordinary, go check it out. These character moments aren't always on a posted schedule, and they often draw a small crowd. Sometimes you'll get a one-on-one interaction, and other times you can just stand nearby and watch the magic unfold. And if you're feeling a little shy, like I am a lot of the time, I have to psych myself up to go meet and talk to characters. It's totally great to stand by and observe from a little bit of distance, even up close, while other people are interacting. So next time you hear something weird, follow it. You just might find your new favorite part of the park.
Now this tip I'm actually pretty excited about: specialty beverages in each land. What I'm talking about is the specialty beverages in each portal, as well as here in Celestial Park. For example, over here in Dark Universe, you'll find a really cool option that you can only find here in Dark Universe. It's the Reaper's Reserve, which is actually a beer exclusively produced by Crooked Can Brewing Company. Both Quincy and I did try the Reaper's Reserve when we were drinking around the universe. That video's up on the channel now, so you can definitely check that out. It was actually one of our favorite beers that we had that day. Now I have heard other opinions in that mix, but we really enjoyed it. But everything that I just said is also true for every other portal, including Celestial Park. Like over in Paris, there's a specialty beer you can try over at Bar Moonshine. Here in Celestial Park, you can go to Bar Zenith, which features even more specialty beers. Definitely check that out. But if you're not a beer drinker, that's totally okay, because they also have specialty soda options. They've got 3 currently listed, and I have yet to try them, so I'm gonna try one for the first time today. But let's talk about what they are. Here in Celestial Park, you can grab the Celestial Spritz. Over in Dark Universe, you can try the Screaming Berry. And then there's the Dragon Splash over in Burke. You're gonna find these specialty sodas at the freestyle machines. There's a little icon right in the corner. You'll press it and then make sure, obviously you're gonna have to have a cup, a soda cup. These are not free, but you can get your refillable Epic Universe souvenir mugs. Really interesting. It's like it's a very citrusy soda. It did offer a Celestial Zero as well, if you're looking for something a little less sugary. And finally, I almost forgot to mention, if you're not into beer and you're not into soda, but you're looking for something a little harder alcohol, you can definitely find those specialty beverages. But again, you have to go to each portal to find the specialty cocktails themed to that land. Okay, I'm done talking about drinks now. Moving on.
Number 12, make the most of a ride going down. If you're a seasoned theme park guest, you probably know this trick already. When a ride goes down and then comes back up, there's usually a short window where you can catch it with a super short wait. That's absolutely true at Epic Universe, but here's the next level strategy most people don't know. Literally, Yoshi just went down as we're standing here filming this. This is amazing. Is Yoshi gonna be down for a while? Will this lower the wait time? Well, the Universal Orlando Resort app actually has a feature that allows you to set alerts for wait times or for when a ride comes back up. So if Battle at the Ministry goes down, you can tap a button and get a push notification as soon as it comes back up. Sounds great, right? Well, yes and no, because there's a catch. If you got the notification, so did half the park. That means everyone will start heading there at once, and that short wait, it disappears fast. So instead, you want to beat the app. In my experience, there's a 10 to 20 minute delay between when a ride actually reopens and when that push notification goes out. That's your golden window. You can sometimes walk onto rides like Minecart Madness in under 10 minutes. Rides that normally sit around an hour wait. But here's the trick. It requires a little old school theme park instinct. Keep an eye on the ride area. If a ride has been down for a while and suddenly team members are moving with more urgency, talking more, or resetting ropes, that's your cue that things are about to start back up. On outdoor coasters like Stardust Racers or Constellation Carousel, you might even see empty test trains running before guests are back in it. If that's happening, stick around. Especially with a headliner attraction, being nearby when it reopens could make all the difference in your day. So yes, by all means use the app, but don't underestimate the power of watching that ride in real time.
Number 13, make sure you can enjoy the fan favorite attractions. Epic Universe has a lot of rides, and I'll tell you, only one of them doesn't have a height requirement. So you want to check in advance to make sure your kiddo can enjoy all of the different rides around the park, or at least a good chunk of them before you even plan your trip here. It's going to be pretty hard to enjoy it if you have a crying kiddo who's so disappointed that they couldn't go on Hiccup swing gliders. But height isn't the only consideration. The seats on these ride vehicles do not necessarily fit all body types, but for these rides, there are tester seats outside the attraction. If you speak with a team member, they'll show you the tester seat and make sure that it will be comfortable for you. That said, I technically fit on Hiccup swing gliders, but something about the way that my body is proportioned makes this ride extremely uncomfortable for me, so I actually don't enjoy it that much. I still think that I would have tried it the first time, even trying the tester seat, but I would have liked to know the way it was going to pinch my legs. Now, this doesn't happen to everybody. Don't be scared that it's going to happen to you with this ride. So even if you don't have concerns about proportions in the ride vehicle, you may want to give the tester seat a try just to know what to expect when you sit down, especially on a more thrilling ride like a roller coaster. There's nothing worse than getting on a ride and finding out that it is just physically not comfortable for you, whether that's from a motion sickness perspective, a physical perspective, or what have you. So just do your research in advance and try out those tester seats, even if it's just for a quick little, this feels fine to me. The most important thing is that you have fun and are comfortable on your theme park day.
Number 14, sit in the best seats. Not all seats are created equal, and if you want the best possible ride experience, it pays to know where to sit. Let's break down some of the best seat choices on top Epic Universe attractions so you can ride like a pro. Roller coasters. For most coasters with multi-car trains like Stardust Racers right here or Curse of the Werewolf, your best bet is front row for the fastest feeling ride and best views. Back row for the wildest, most intense ride, especially on drops. Dragon Racers Rally. This spinning dragon ride gives you some control with a lever, and if you want to barrel roll like a pro, sit on the outside seat. Fire drill. For this chaotic, splashy firefighting ride, sit as close to the front of the vehicle as possible. That's the part moving forward, with your family seated to your left. Then aim your water blasters at the blue targets once they get just past you. It'll splash the left side of the ride, aka your family, while keeping you drier. You're welcome. Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. You might think front and center is best, and it's not bad, but the true best seat is the back center. You'll get the clearest view of the effects. The motion is slightly gentler, which is preferred if you're prone to motion sickness, and some of the illusions just look more realistic from that angle. I'll also say if you're experiencing aches and pains, I was having some pretty bad back pain a couple weeks ago when I rode this the first time, and it was rough. So keep that in mind. This isn't for the faint of heart, even though it's not as thrilling as some other, physically thrilling as some of the other rides in this park. It definitely takes you for a ride that you'll feel. Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. This one's trickier. There's no bad seat, but each one gives you a slightly different perspective. My personal favorite, the far left seat. You're the first one into each scene. The monsters tend to play to you a little more, and it gives the whole ride a slightly more intense feel. So don't be afraid to ask for a specific row or wait an extra cycle if it means getting that perfect seat. No matter what you're riding, a little seat strategy can make a big difference.
If you're like me and you're looking for something a little more, I would say, elevated,
I'll say classy.
classy, with some good stemware. It's literally one of the nicest bars, I think, here in Epic Universe, not including anything at Helios. It's a walk-up bar where you literally just grab a seat. It's first come, first serve, and they have some really great craft beer, signature cocktails, and they all come in nice stemware, which I think stemware is important. But you can also get drinks to go, and obviously that's not in stemware, that's in plastic cups. Because I haven't mentioned this before, Aquaria is in Atlantic.
Which is why a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah, in fact, the bartenders, I guess, encouraged to say, hey, please tell people about this, because not a lot of people know about it. It's amazing AC. Oh, the fish swim by. Look at the view. The view's gorgeous.
If you want to splurge and have a wonderful bar experience, you could get a reservation and swing into Helios Grand. This is the hotel that connects directly to Epic Universe, has a dedicated entrance and exit. Now, during the day, you can use this entrance and exit to and from the park to go into Helios Grand. They just might ask you if you're coming from the park when you exit again. Just, answer honestly. You are allowed to go in and out from the park. You just can't park there and use the entrance if you're not staying at the hotel. At the roof, there is a great restaurant called Flora Taverna if you want a sit-down restaurant. But there's also on the roof, the rooftop bar is called Bar Helios.
I once had oysters in a Manhattan there. It was lovely.
Oh my God. You know what I had there?
What?
Oysters and a dirty martini.
Girl, it was like we were in the same place. Because we were.
What if we sat in the same seat? Were you at the bar?
Yeah.
What seat were you in? Like if you had to describe what seat of the bar you were in.
Hold on, we'll say it at the same time.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Four seats to the right. No way.
If you made it to the end, go ahead and drop this password down in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and turn those notifications on so that you'll be the first to know when myself or one of my friends drops a new video. That's something that happens on this channel 7 days a week. See you next time.
Why?
Because we're serious about fun.
You don't have to sound so sad about having to say it.
Daddy!
Yeah, serious. About fun!
Because we're serious about fun.
I said I'm not.
Thanks for watching.